Hey, Steve here. Just wanted to give you a quick insight and introduce you to someone in an organization that I think is making a difference in an extremely worthy way. So I'm going to introduce you to Reboot VA. VA, if you're not and haven't been around the military, is Veterans Administration. So Reboot VA is a concept about having to do things that you shouldn't have to do after you have stepped in harm's way, after you have trained and served our great nation. And yet, um, the Veteran Administration many times fails and is even disrespectful in their way of handling our veterans. I know this personally because I grew up in the shadow of Rambo, the nickname that I had for my father, that was Marine Recon that served on the DMZ in Vietnam in 1967 to 68. And at the very last mission, pretty close to their return from their first um, tour of duty, if you will, um, the half the team did not make it home or were severely wounded. And without going into all those details, if you've been on any of my podcasts, I've gone into some of those, but I ended up not just being his shadow, but being his comrade, his confidant. And even though I was his son, my admiration and respect for the service and the continued disabilities that he had while I was growing up and has continued for the rest of his life, including, not just having to deal with the chronic types of arthritis from the gunshot wounds and the loss of most of his right hand, but also the ongoing PTSD that he has dealt with his entire life. And then, if that weren't enough, then the Agent Orange that the Monsanto purportedly had proven that it was not harmful to any human beings was spraying that defoliage over the triple canopy jungle. And as these biplanes came over and dumped these uh, weed killer, if you will, if you know what Roundup is, it's the same company, Monsanto. And it basically soaked their entire battle fatigues, including all their backpack and everything that they had. And they would ask, "Hey, is that okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. The government's taking care of you. We already checked it out. Monsanto has made sure this is not going to hurt any of our armed forces that are out here fighting for freedom." Total lie, absolute lie. And many of our veterans have suffered horrible types of cancer and other disabilities and ailments and died very early. My father ended up with esophagus cancer. They radiated it to kill the esophagus cancer, but in having to radiate it, it burnt all of the nerves underneath his jaw here. So he has had locked jaw for about 25, almost 27 years. He has not actually been able to open his mouth or eat food in a regular way. He drinks his meals 3 times a day through a straw. And yet today he will still stand as a Marine and will protect this country and the flag, regardless of how he's been treated by including the Veterans Administration. Now, how do we fast forward today? And as you can tell, it's very emotional for me because I've witnessed that. I've been part of it and I've seen his sacrifice, but I've also seen his allegiance and his dedication and admiration for our country and what he did and how he did it and what he stood for and what our armed forces still stand for. So I've met Shane Hicks, West Point grad, retired from the Army, medical discharge due to combat training. And in the middle of that, he has had to figure out how to reacclimate to civilian life, and he has done so with an exceptional capability. And in meeting him, I have had the opportunity to become a contributor to his Reboot VA, where you can actually take what you pay for a cup of coffee a day and contribute to his 501c3 nonprofit organization in order for him to be able to help those other veterans that are needing that transition, that assistance, to know how to get the proper medical care, to know how to stand up to the VA when they tell you we've got nothing for you, and how to actually go through the right channels of command, chain of command, I guess you would say, to get the proper medical and support that you need after standing in harm's way. In addition to that, he helps those individuals that have been in the sandboxes that have served other places around the world to be sure to transition back to civilian lifestyle. And that's not an easy thing. Many times I have probably 30–40% of my friends that are former active duty military. And even though they have flown helicopters and driven tanks and fired massive types of guns and firepower and fought in the hardest situations and been super highly trained and invested in by our country, by our military. And yet when they come home, those skills do not necessarily translate easily back to civilian lifestyle. So there's a disconnect. And how do you transition when the Veteran Administration is supposed to help you doesn't? So that's where Shane Hicks has stepped up, stepped into the gap, stepped forward, raised his hand, and created an operation in New Braunfels, Texas, where he actually does that. So I've connected Shane, and I'm honored to have connected Shane to many individuals that I know, and I want to connect him now to you. So what I'm going to do below is I'm going to give you the link to RebootVA.com that you can connect. And if you want to learn more about his story, please do so. And if you will, if nothing else, if you will share a cup of coffee a day with his organization, he will make sure that those soldiers, Marines, airmen, and sailors that come home, when they come home, they know how to get the services that are due them. They know how to find the employment that their family needs, and they know how to transition back so they can be an incredible member of our society that has already served far above and beyond the call of duty. But we want them to know that we care and that we love them and that we appreciate their service. So if you will, share a cup of coffee a day. And I do that. That's what I do. And that's how I first got a chance to meet Shane. The other thing I'd like for you to do is I'd like to help you build your business or make connections with individuals and to share your expertise with an incredible organization that's called The Buzz. The Buzz is an organization that Shane has helped to structure and build. It is an online networking organization. I've been a member of it for several months now, and I will tell you that it is unequivocally the most quality individuals you will ever get a chance to meet. It meets every Monday morning, and I will give you the link so that you can have the actual time. It will be in the section right below this video. You can use the Zoom link, copy paste it into your browser, or click it if you're using a Chrome. It'll pop you right there. You'll be able to use the passcode, the ID to join. It takes about an hour. It's a great opportunity for you to meet fantastic, incredible other individuals and to be able to share what you know to help other people make a difference. So that's what you know I'm about. I want to give you that opportunity. If you can and you have that ability to be part of that and to create opportunities to refer business to other people. And when you serve first, it's called the giver's gain. Then you will have the opportunity for those individuals, after you've built their trust with them, they will in turn refer business to you if in fact you are an entrepreneur. And this is something that would help you grow your business and first of all, help you serve other people. So check out the links below and give me a comment back and tell me if you do decide to share a cup of coffee with Shane's organization to help reboot the Veterans Administration. Sound off and let me know that you did make a difference.